Okie doke, we're back once again. I know I'm spoiling you guys. Here's some news on Vietnam. Somebody shot me over this article, and I started to read it, but also found another article you'll be interested in. Okay, this one here is the the SBV governor Hung meets with Deputy Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of Treasury. Is that right? Yeah, USDT. Okay, so anyways, look, of course, what do you think they're going to talk about? We already know that April 6th is coming up here really quick. And on April 6th, what takes effect? All these new currency manipulating penalties take effect, all right? So the meeting took place. And let me just sometimes you guys say, hey, this isn't big enough for me to read. So I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. So the meeting took place. And so what happened was Hung briefed the guests that Vietnam's macroeconomic situations and explained the government's and the SBV's viewpoint of the management of the monetary policies and the exchange rate, which is aimed to control the inflation and stabilize the macroeconomy. Of course, the SBV governor emphasized that Vietnam does not use the exchange rate policy to gain an unfair commercial advantage. In other words, they're claiming that they don't manipulate their currency. But here's the thing, in my past videos, I showed you what the three criterias are. Not only does Vietnam violate one of the criterias, but they're violating all three criterias. They're well out of the range. So their currencies are undervalued and need to be changed. Okay, and you're seeing a lot of these types of meetings between the United States Department of Treasury and Vietnam. This isn't the first one. There's another one. I think it happened like 4 or 5 weeks ago. So these types of meetings seem to be stepping up. So this is good for you Vietnam dong holders, including myself. This looks like a good sign to me. You know, tell me what you think. Go ahead and leave a comment in there and smash the like button. But finally, it looks like they're addressing what we all been waiting for, and that is the exchange rate. Okay, so it goes on to see here, paid much attention and have directed to promote the comprehensive cooperation relations between Vietnam and the United States, blah, 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 their trade agreements. But then you come down here again, and look at this, they're just telling you, SBV always treasures the cooperative relations with the U.S. and have high evaluations for the cooperation and exchanges of macroeconomic policies between the two countries. Okay, so look, Vietnam knows they received one hell of a boom in their economy because of the U.S.-China tariff war. A lot of companies left from over in China and came over into Vietnam. Okay, so Vietnam really benefited from this. But what happened is that also hurt them as far as where their currency is. It's good for us because what happened is the three criteria that they were violating now obviously are much higher, so to speak. You know, there's these plateaus in there. If you guys go see my other video, they show what the plateaus are. But they're obviously now way above that because of all the benefits they received from the tariff wars. All right, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Now, just because the new rules are implemented on April 6th does not mean that everybody's going to fall in line before or on April 6th. This might be something that takes time. This might be a process that happens, but we know at least the start of something is going to happen on April 6th. That's a good thing. So let's see how many countries fall into line. Let's just hope that this all means something for a lot of the currencies that we hold. Okay, so I'll leave the link for you to come and check this out. But before I move on, just a reminder that there's Pimpy's investment chat, and in here there's all kinds of, it's free to join. It's all kinds of information. There's news on the Iraqi dinar. There's news on the Vietnam dong. There's news on cryptocurrencies. There's news on all kinds of things in there. Okay, so I encourage everybody to come over here. I'll leave the link in the description, along with the fact that many of you have been asking about how to join Coinbase because you're interested in buying cryptos for your first time. There's a link in my description as well. I encourage you to follow it because when you join, it gives you $10 free. All right, so why not give $10 free? Go and take advantage of that. Right, so follow the link and get the $10 free. So again, just join the group. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, because I don't charge for the channel. The information is free. I don't have a Patreon like a lot of these other people because I believe we should share the information. It should be out there for free. Now, I'm not, bashing people that do, but I'm just saying, I think we're all on the same page and we're trying to achieve the same goal. So let YouTube pay me. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let YouTube pay me, okay? So not you guys. I prefer doing this for free and working with you guys, but it does help when you can make a couple bucks here and there from YouTube at least, all right? Let's go to the second article about Vietnam that I find very, very interesting. The SBV governor meets high-level delegation of the Bank for International Settlement. BIS is once again, somehow, some way involved with a lot of things we're talking about. So now what's happened is the BIS board of directors came over and they met, and they've invited the Bank of Vietnam to join the BIS. Now, for those people who believe that there's going to be a global currency reset, I said this before and I'll say it again. I don't know why, but I have a feeling the BIS is going to be behind whatever global currency reset there is. For those of you who don't know who the BIS is, the BIS is like the central bank for central banks. They're the big dogs. And there's a lot of countries now joining in the organization of the BIS. I think this is where you're going to see the currency reset happen. I think they're behind a lot of this thing that's going on, including what's in Iraq, not just over here in Vietnam. I think that somehow, some way, the BIS has their hands in this. I'm not exactly sure. I just know a lot of things that I've read that's been happening between all of the central banks. One way or another, the BIS has been involved, and they seem to be getting involved with a lot of different countries. So don't be surprised if whatever this global currency reset is, we don't find out that the BIS is somehow behind it. As a matter of fact, I'd probably be shocked if they weren't. Okay? So anyways, the BIS has extended an invitation out to the Bank of Vietnam, asking them to become members. And so this is definitely going to be interesting. But here's something that you might like. Becoming a member of the BIS will help the SBV and the Vietnamese banking sector to access the highest principles and standards of global financial system. Highest principles and standards of the global financial system. Contributing to accelerating the international integration of the financial and banking system. This sounds like some type of reset happening. This looks like a movement to have some type of reset. Just leave a comment. Let me know what you think about BIS's role in all this and how they are somehow behind a lot of currency, the IQD, that is, the Iraqi dinar. They have their grubby hands on a lot of it. They're also been behind a lot of different currency swaps, I noticed, and they have been monitoring and inviting in a lot of huge banks to come join their organization. I'm curious. Let me know what you think about it. Leave a comment about the BIS and the fact that they've now extended an invitation to have Vietnam join. This, in my opinion, is a good move. This is another thing that we want to see. The more Vietnam gets internationally recognized and starts doing more trade deals, it starts to strengthen their economy even more. And of course, as we know, when the economy is strong, it makes their dollar strong. All right. Now, we noticed that in the U.S., the markets were starting to crash. And I tell people not to get all emotional over the ups and downs of any kind of investment. But there was a world record, bounce back in one day, 1,293 points. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good jump. But having said that, what was happening is, as the economy crashes here in the United States, what does that do? What weakens our dollar? And what happens when our dollar becomes weak? Other countries' currencies become stronger. They become more valuable against the US dollar. Now, for people to hold dinar or hold the Vietnam dong or any other currencies, of course, you don't want anything to happen to your country, but the truth of the matter is there's a part of you that does, because the weaker our dollar gets, the stronger their dollars gets against ours, and when the exchange rate will increase. All right. Anyways, I just wanted to share these two articles. As usual, I'll leave the link for you guys to check out. I just thought they were interesting. I see the BIS is extending invitation to have the Bank of Vietnam join. Also that let me get the words out here. The Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Treasury for Asia was meeting with them over their macroeconomic policies. All right, this could mean something That we're hoping, that's for sure, okay? Because we know April 6th, everything changes. The rules change. I'm not sure how many people before or after or on that date are going to get their ducks in a row, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take until they have to get their ducks in a row, but it's interesting to see these types of meetings already taking place, all right? Anyways, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, please, if you haven't. It's much appreciated. You have a good evening.